This is a world that we gaze upon that is made of simply this, false perceptions. It's a world made of false perceptions where we have believed that we are separate from one another, where we have forgotten our innate oneness and our wholeness and the interconnection of the choices that we make and how it impacts one another. We've forgotten who we are. And the beauty and the hope of this message today is that it's okay, that what we have made, we can unmake and we can create anew. And it is truly simple.
We're back. So glad to be back with you. Hello and welcome. This is Brother T. I'm so excited to be back with you. It is another Sunday episode here at True Thought. We're very, very excited to be with you. This is a holiday weekend, and whatever you're doing, we hope that you're having a wonderful and blessed time, and we hope also that a lot of people are finally, hopefully, gathering with their families again and returning to some level of being together with people that we love and know and care about. So we hope that for you this weekend. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time sharing here with you because you know what's going on. If you'd like to, please subscribe down below. If you find value, please hit the like button. That helps us to get the word out. We do appreciate you adding comments, if you will. And of course, you can chat right over here. But I'm not going to belabor this very much because I'm very, very excited about the message that you're going to be hearing today. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce my beautiful wife, Rev. René. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you on the other side.
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And welcome, True Thought Spiritual Community, our beloved community. We're so grateful that you've joined us today. Thank you. And so I'm just going to invite each of us to just pause for a moment, pausing for a holy instant, just an instant, to allow the body eyes to close if that's comfortable for you or not. And just take a breath. Turn within to a sense of spaciousness, a sense of open-heartedness and open-mindedness. Allow a smile to come upon the face to inform the entire being and universe of the expectation of joyfulness, the expectation of experiencing something magnificent together here today, and the remembrance that God and I, Spirit and I, are one, and that you and I are one with each other. And so opening the body eyes and gazing out wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, know it's perfect. Know that you are here by divine appointment and that we connect in oneness in love. So I'm going to invite you to listen to a story that I'd like to share with you today. And the story is entitled Spider's Web. In the morning sunlight, between the leaves of a small tree, I see a spider's web, glistening, intricate, delicate, and trembling ever so slightly in the gentle, imperceptible breeze. Something curious is happening. Rather than creating a web or mending it, it was dismantling it quite efficiently, traveling down a main thread and consuming it. Poof, that quarter gone. Then the next. Just a few lines and the whole thing collapsed but one. Done. It served its purpose, a new day. Allowing each day to be sufficient unto itself. How do I complete each day? and begin each one brand new, unencumbered by what I made the day before? How do I approach each day fully emptied of self and of former constructs, breathing out fully, having exhaled it all, that I may begin a day filled, taking that first breath clean and clear, unobstructed by yesterday, and unconcerned about tomorrow. Each day sufficient unto itself. The birds of the field, they toil not, take no thought. The spider is gone. The web is gone. All evidence of form is gone. Where did it go? Did the cardinal, flitting among those same branches, did he eat it? Did he, like Spider-Man, jump and jet off to another tree or yet another dimension? God only knows. But I sit here and wonder, will he be back tomorrow? How are we like the spider? How are we like the spider creating its web? That we create our world moment by moment, breath by breath, thought by thought. We create the web of our experience, the landscape of our life. That is how we are like that spider, that we create our experience and that we create it of and from ourselves. How are we not like the spider? Well, I don't know about you, but I tend to have the memory of yesterdays and the memory of unhealed aspects. And I would suggest that we as humans and we as a culture have created webs of yesterday, of old memories and unhealed aspects that haunt us today. That we have not cultivated the practice individually and collectively of completing each day, of completing each day such that it is sufficient unto itself, such that everything that has occurred in that day and all of the little snags that we may have had in consciousness, all the little judgments, all the little resentments are forgiven and released on a daily basis and just let go. So that in the next breath, in the next moment, we get to create anew. But we, as human beings, or identifying as human beings and in our culture, have created a web. And it's a web of relationship that we have all created together. And in some aspects, we are haunted by our past. I have gazed upon the news recently, as I'm sure some of you have. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how have we gotten to this place? Look at the webs that we have made, that we haven't taken the time to dismantle, that we haven't taken the time to really look at and assess and forgive so that we may start anew in a new day and create a new world. We talk about that, but we must release what has been in order to create anew. So the webs that we've made, some of those that I have listed when I turned on the news this week, I saw riots. I saw people attacking one another. I saw guns and gunshots. I saw what is the conversation about racism in our country, about inequality. And I have seen the evidence of webs of sexism and of ecological assault upon our world, all attack, all judgment, a cancel culture where we just cancel people as if it doesn't matter, as if they don't matter. This is a world that we gaze upon that is made of simply this: false perceptions. It's a world made of false perceptions where we have believed that we are separate from one another, where we have forgotten our innate oneness and our wholeness and the interconnection of the choices that we make and how it impacts one another. We've forgotten who we are. And the beauty and the hope of this message today is that it's okay, that what we have made, we can unmake and we can create anew. And it is truly simple. The concepts upon which it is built is simple. And so here we are, we're this True Thought spiritual community, and we each have come from a beautiful legacy of spiritual teaching that is designed for us to awaken to a truth that sets us free. And we talk about true thought principles. And it's like, well, what the heck are they? What are these true thought principles? And I want to say that a true thought principle is a truth. It's not something that is in the world or of the world like facts, that facts can change and facts can be manipulated. A true thought principle is something that is true always. It's very similar to something like the golden rule. And the golden rule is something that, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. That's the golden rule. And we see it in all of the spiritual teachings that have come into existence that we are aware of. We can see where it is said in different ways in all of them. And the reason is because it's a statement of truth. It doesn't matter what your faith is or your religion is. It's simply a true statement. And it doesn't matter what the conditions are. It is true always. True thought principles are the principles that we teach here that are eternal, that are changeless. And in truth, they are actually the thoughts of God, the thoughts of love. And we have laid a foundation so far of these principles, and I'm going to continue on with them. But we always begin with this. We always begin with who you are. Who we are, what we are. That's where we begin. We begin with divine identity. So when I talk about the webs that we've created from false perception, those are what we have created based upon thought systems where we forgot who we are, where we forgot that we're one with one another. And so true thought principles and truth about our divine identity is this, is that each of us are as God created us, as Spirit created us, as love created us. And what is that? How have we been created? We've been created of love, as Spirit. Not created as body, that came later, but created as Spirit, eternal and changeless, and one with Creator. And as one with Creator, we have the ability to create our experience of and from ourselves. Just like that spider appears to be creating its web from itself, right? And so we have that ability too. And so the implications of this are that we are empowered by thoughts that we think, and the thoughts are things, that it is done as we decree, and as we decree is based upon the thoughts in our belief system. And that is what we make and create in our world. So that's a true thought principle, that thoughts are things. There are no such things as idle thoughts. All thoughts are creative in nature. And they're not big or small, they're merely true or false. That's it. It's so simple, so simple. So thoughts are things. And then Brother T introduced last week that all events are neutral. All events are neutral. And these principles, that you are as God created you, that thoughts are things, and that all events are neutral, lay this foundation which creates the statement that you are not a victim. Not now, not ever, of the world of appearances. You cannot be, because of who you are. And so when we look upon this world, how can we say that events are neutral? We can say that events are neutral because in and of themselves, they are the effect of the thoughts and the belief system. So they're already in the can, if you will. There's their effect in our teaching and the law of attraction and what we do here. We don't manipulate effect because it will not help things. We must go back to cause. Events are neutral because each of us will look at the same event and we will interpret it differently. We will perceive it differently. Hello, our political system. Hello, our media system. That it relies on having separate camps and enrolling people into a way of thinking such that we have forgotten to think for ourselves and we have forgotten to think with the thoughts that are aligned with truth, love, with God. The events are neutral because we all perceive them differently and we perceive them according to our perception and our thoughts and our ideas. And so that is how we can say something like this. We operate from cause. So what we can do when we look out into the world and we see the things that we see on the news at this particular juncture in our history, that we can begin to take a breath and to pause. And we can disengage to our former prevailing thought pattern and begin to remember that, oh, what I'm seeing, even though it seems to elicit within me sadness or fear, that we can begin to observe it from a different place and practice seeing the thought systems that arise within me that have contributed to this experience. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. We are at a turning point here where we know all this, we have all this great knowledge, and the turning point is that we get to choose again. Just like the spider, that we can dismantle the structures that have been based upon false perceptions and ideas of separation and ideas of fear. We can dismantle that web that we have created. And we can say, you know what? The day is sufficient unto itself. That to condemn what has been serves nothing and no one. But to begin in integrity to create with thoughts of love serves everyone. It is not required that we suffer any longer. We're off the hook when we follow this pathway of truth. We think that we must dissect everything and pick it apart. But what if that is not true? What if we simply get the lesson, see the lesson, and choose again? What if it's okay for us not to punish or suffer anymore what has been? What if we could claim what A Course in Miracles says in one of its lessons, that whatever suffers is not a part of me. Whatever suffers is not a part of me. You know what? For so long, we have disowned the truth of who we are, that divine identity that I speak of, that God and I are one, that we are spirit, eternal, changeless, that we're the creator of our experience, that it's not done to us, it comes from us, that our thoughts are creative, and that the events are neutral, but they are feedback for us to look at and to choose again. And we've disowned this truth by blaming and judging. We've been committed to that. We've been committed to disowning the truth. Now let us be faithful to the truth. Let us be faithful in disowning that falsity, dismantling that web that was built upon false perception, and begin to remember who we are. We can now decide to disown self-concepts and deceits and lies about who we say our brother is or our sister. We know that murder's wrong. We know that violence isn't going to serve. We know that allowing poverty to continue isn't in our integrity. But none of us, and all of us, none of us are victims of those effects, but we are at cause. We are at cause. And so we have this turning point here. We have a turning point that says that we can choose again. We can choose this new thought system, and we can be dedicated to it as wholly as we've been dedicated to the old belief system, that we can begin to ascend, and today is the day. I get so conflicted when I think that my condemnation helps anything. When I watch the news, when I look at the political activity. But what if I could begin to see upon the landscape the innocence of my brothers and sisters and myself, and begin to ascend, to begin to ascend into miracle-mindedness, to begin to ascend and turn to truth principles in my consciousness first. And that as we begin to create a new web from those thought systems, it reverberates out in the world, and we begin to build a world anew. It is absolutely necessary for each one of us to own our own thought system, to become aware of it, to become aware of the thoughts that we plop into or cast into the field of our awareness that we focus on. It's up to each one of us to clear what has been an aspect of our false perception and to commit to these statements of truth. And we begin today by claiming our authority, our dominion over this, over our self-responsibility of creating a beautiful new web. So I'm going to invite you to turn within with me for a moment. Remembering our divine identity, God and I are one, Spirit and I are one, love and I are one, that I am, we are as God created us, that we're spirit unlimited and free, that it is done as we decree, and we decree anew. We release the past, we let it go. We begin our forgiveness process, we let it go. We let today be sufficient unto itself. And today, moment by moment, thought by thought, I declare the following, and I invite you to repeat this with me. I'll say it once and then I'll whisper it once. I am the one who chooses the effects that I experience. I am the one who chooses the effects I experience. I alone interpret all neutral relationships or experiences. I alone interpret all neutral relationships or experiences. I alone place value upon objects, upon things, thoughts, and belief systems. I alone place value upon objects, things, thoughts, and belief systems. And take a breath. I alone am the literal creator of my moment-to-moment experience. I alone am the literal creator of my moment-to-moment experience. Take a breath. And hear this. This changes everything. This changes everything. Never again do any of us need to allow ourselves to feel as though we are merely a victim of unconscious forces. Never again do we need to look out beyond ourselves and find blame or fault with another. No longer do we need the energy of blame or projection to be dumped upon somebody else. As if that energy of judgment can hold sway any longer in our minds. We let it go, we forgive it, that we judge not. We judge not according to appearances. When we look out and we see this, we see innocent brothers and sisters that are crying out for love, and they're reflecting the cry of love within ourselves. That needs that love, that wholeness, that healing, the true thought to have full sway. What I am speaking of here is absolutely necessary to awaken wholly, moment by moment. This is what we are celebrating this day. I say happy Labor Day. I say happy Labor Day, happy Independence Day, happy day of freedom, happy day of ascension, happy day of awakening, holy this day. That as you go out in the world this day, perhaps gathering with friends and loved ones, and as conversations arise, create a little bit of observation and breathe in and remember that you are the creator of your experience, and so is each person. Happy Labor Day today. What I know and claim for us, that we may cease laboring in vain. For except the house that we build, the webs that we create be made in the connected consciousness with spirit, we do labor in vain. So we connect in this moment. I bless you. I bless this day. I bless our world. I say this is a turning point, that as we can see what is happening, it's our wake-up call to forgive and create anew. And it's a bright, beautiful day. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us. I love you. I bless you. All is well and good. You are loved, and so it is. Amen. Amen.